Infected.
Hello and welcome to Infected, the IPTV equivalent of what you thought was just a little bit of gas, but turned out to be a turd wet enough to end the drought in Darfur. I'm Internet's Martin Sargent. And I'm joined as always, well, it's not as always, because we have two people sitting on the couch of the Sarge Shack tonight. Yeah. We got Scott Herriot and the Gator.
Hey, Martin, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing all right. Now, Scott Herriot here. You guys, any old ZDTV fans remember Scott from Internet
both
Tonight.
Of you.
Scott was supposed to be on the show next week.
Yeah.
And he got the date wrong, and he showed up tonight.
Yeah, exactly.
And, so when you show up next week, you should wear the same clothes.
I'll do
Let's all wear the same clothes.
I'll wear the same
that would
thing,
be
too.
Maybe your glasses could be different, though, next
I'll
time.
switch up my glasses.
All right.
I got a different pair, my smart pair, my reading glasses. I want to look smart.
So Scott's going to be here next time to talk about his hunt for Bigfoot.
Yes.
But he's here this time to join us in what we're calling the Infected Pooh Spectacular.
Yeah.
And it's going to be one hell of a show.
I just
a
shit
real
my pants
doozy.
right now to get in the spirit of it.
You just let one go a little
It's
bit?
actually, I got a little turtle head working.
Yeah.
And,
Just let it fly.
See, this is what I'm afraid of. I don't want people to think that this is just going to be some base juvenile show about Pooh.
no.
Far from it.
No.
Far from it. Well, we got Dave Prager on the show, not to be confused with the leprechaunish little COO of Revision 3, David Prager. Different Dave Prager. This is a scholar of Pooh, and he's written a book called Poop Culture.
Pooh.
And it's a book about how pooing has influenced world civilization.
He shits you not.
Yeah. See, I've been
I'm Bob Hope.
when I was coming up with like the little riffs for this show, I said I'm going to avoid all the obvious.
I'm 63, dude. That's my era.
You can
I'm
learn a
avoid all
lot.
that.
Yeah.
You can learn a lot about a man by studying his poo.
You really can.
Yeah, you can
You really
tell.
can.
You
I
can
learned
tell
that on
Study a
CSI.
man's poo.
as much as I can, Scott. I try every chance I get. If you give me a chance, I'll study your poo. I'll study anybody's poo. And I'm not talking about a cursory glance. You give that thing, you got to give it at least a good 5 minutes to get right down in
Lab
there.
coat on and shit, and like you stirring it up. And
You just get your face down there near the bowl and take a look at it. Maybe the best is get
When
some
you
kind
guys
of
poo-
stick. You
well,
get a
okay.
stick and you turn it over. You roll that over and get a good
When you
look
guys
at it.
poo, like when you're done, you look and you're like,
absolutely, everybody
you're
looks.
either proud or you're like, oh man, that was
Disgusted.
just terrible.
How did that?
That was just awful. That little, I thought it was going to be something grand, something grandiose, and it turned out to be that little piece of.
Or you
turd
wonder
that
about
was
the transformation. How did the Jello tostada actually look exactly the same now?
I usually put some in a little mason jar and take it home with me. Put it in, it makes a nice little, put it up in the window and the way the sunlight streams through there.
What is it about this house? Maybe I'll ask Dave Prayer. Whenever people come into this house, it's like there's something about it. There's some pheromone in here.
I don't know. Your house does that to
The
me.
bowels uncoil. Did you have
They're
that feeling,
relaxed.
Scott, when you came in here?
Bowels
Actually,
slack.
halfway up the doorstep, that's when the turtle head was working. I think I was just excited to see you again. It's been a couple of years. It's homey. You got a lot of wood.
You get some wormwood and some teak. That really slackens the bowel a little bit. That smell is
It's
good.
mostly comfort. When you feel comfortable and a little excited about something, your body wants to cleanse it, wants to purge what it doesn't need.
It wants to take out the old and bring in the new. And what's new here is friendship and happiness.
Scott, just remember, you're supposed to be here next week.
Yes.
So don't talk too much.
Okay, I'm sorry. What am I? Am I over the quota already?
You're getting there. Okay. You're getting there. So Poop Culture, this great
Have
book.
a
He's going to
diaper
be on the
party.
show, the author of that. But if you're not a reader, then probably what you do is you watch movies. Well, if you're into movies, have I got a deal for you? You know about the Netflix, right? Wow.
I thought you were talking about Alex Chu.
No. Go to www.netflix.com/infected. We're going to give you 2 weeks for free on the Netflix account. And we know that you're going to stick with it because after you're with it for 2 weeks, you're going to want, because they send you, you pick the movies you want on the internet, they mail them to you, you can keep them for as long as you want. When you're done with it, there's no late fees. You just drop it in any mailbox, they give you a prepaid mailer, you send it on its way.
Well,
It's great.
that just sounds like a hell of a little bargain.
It is. Netflix.com, www.netflix.com/infected. That's how you're going to get this deal. You're not going to get it anywhere else.
And
Not
Blu-ray and HD movies now too.
Shut up, Dave. You're paid to press the red button, that's all.
Dave's, why is Dave wearing a cape and a pair of diapers?
I got these 3 Koreans running camera here, the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria. Oh, you're Chinese? I don't know. I don't
Korean?
and with that, let's take a check of the high-tech news ticker. All right, you may have already heard this story. It's been all over the news, but I'm not sure it's been adequately analyzed, okay? A Toronto school principal who pleaded guilty to throwing human excrement at a 12-year-old boy may get her job back, officials said. You hear about this?
No, I haven't.
Oh, I haven't heard about this.
Maria Pantalone, 49 years old. She's the sister of Toronto's deputy mayor.
Right.
She was granted an absolute discharge on assault charges Monday after a judge said she had, quote, already suffered enough. The charges stem from an incident last year in which police said Pantalone threw human feces at one of the students in the school.
Was it her own crap?
That's what we don't know. Those are the lingering questions because they say because the child, this is an elementary school. These are small kids.
It had to be the kids'
So to
crap.
protect the kids, they can't reveal any of the details of this. So
There's no call to throw
talk
human
this
shit.
through.
Let's just talk about that because that was a big thing when I adopted a kid from Guatemala once, and I kept that little fucker in a room. I had a nice little room with lots of toys in there, and all he did all day was throw his shit around. I sent him back. You throw shit around Gator's house, you're gonna get sent back.
But where did she get the feces? Was it her feces? Did she? It's
hard to imagine.
It hit the kid in the shoulder.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine no matter how fucked up a 49-year-old woman.
She still had to pick it up no matter where it came from. It's human feces.
Oh, yeah.
But she chucked it. And it must have been a really well-formed turd.
Yeah.
To be able to actually hit somebody that dead-eye right in the shoulder.
I bet she threw it at the kid she thought left the
shoulder.
feces. She's probably trying to teach him the alphabet, and there's a turd laying there. She looks up at Johnny, and he's like, and then she just
this kid
figured.
was not even a student at the school. I don't know where he came from.
What's he doing at the school?
He was causing trouble.
Well, then he should have had shit thrown on him. You come in the classroom trying to disrupt things. There's nothing to go. You ain't gonna come back if you get a big whacker.
Maria Pantalone said, "I couldn't take it anymore. It was total frustration."
I believe that woman. You get a big chunk of shit, stick you in the sternum, man. You're gonna think twice.
There's obviously a lot of the story we don't know about, and
Ramrod around.
I'm sure she had her reasons.
What could the victim have possibly done to deserve that?
He's rabble.
Well, okay, maybe it was the shit in her coffee cup.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe the kid shit in her coffee
Yeah,
cup.
I would throw that at the Pope if he shit in my coffee cup.
Maybe he was break
That
dancing.
wouldn't get through the Pope-mobile, though.
No, yeah, well, at least he'd have the dishonor of it smearing on his windshield.
The real question, though, is how does this qualify as being on the high-tech news ticker? The high-tech news ticker!
I don't know, and I thought
There's really nothing high-tech about it.
I thought we were gonna have an astute, scholarly
Does she have
discussion.
a bionic arm?
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Anyway, let's move on to something decidedly un-Pooh related. Ricky Kang, my man down in Gainesville, if you've been watching the show recently, you know that I asked him to count down his 5 top albums of all time. And we're down to number 3. So here he is, Ricky Kang, self-defense expert, on his 3rd greatest album of all time.
Ricky Kang.
Hey, what's up, man? Ricky Kang here down on the compound in Gainesville, man. We're still warriors, we're still kicking ass, and we're still talking music. Number 3 on the countdown of top 5 albums of all time, Megadeth. Peace sales, but who's buying, man? This is some evil shit, man. Y'all gotta get it, crank it up, because let me tell you a little story, man. I used to listen to this when I was training for the Octagon. I'd get in the dojo, man. I'd just turn that up so loud, man. It would turn me into evil, man. It would take over my soul, man. One time I had that shit all cranked up, and I'm in there hitting the heavy bag. Next thing I know, I punch right through the heavy bag, right up to my shoulder, man. 150-pound cowhide leather bag right up to my shoulder, man. I was stuck in that thing. My training partner, Kenny Pang, had to come in with a chainsaw to cut me out of that thing. It's insane, man. You got to get it. Listen to Megadeth. Peace sells, but who's buying? One note here, I did used to train Dave Mustaine for about 6 months, man. He's kind of a pussy. He's kind of a little bitch. I love him, man. He rocks on guitar. He just ain't no fighter. That's all right, man. We ain't all warriors. Some people got to play the music. Megadeth, peace sells, but who's buying? Evil.
Thank you, Ricky. Quasi-Toto. All right, real quick, I want to say thank you to everyone who sent in a picture of me if I weren't American but lived in a strange European land. and we'd like to show some of those to you right now. First one is from John Temerick. It's there's my leader hose in there, and I guess, is that supposed to be you, Gator?
I don't know. I don't
dress there. That's Joey, obviously.
You look smart in a pair of leader hoses.
And this one is here we are in the red light district there, and apparently I'm saying that prostitute looks familiar. Oh, that's Joey. That's why it looks familiar. It's Joey with a bird body.
We're gonna check the Joey cam.
And this one here is from Firestone X. Apparently he thinks that Europe is a Muslim country.
Yeah.
Because you're riding a camel gator and I'm wearing a turban. And finally from Adam Ott,
Freedom
we have me with my beautiful wife. And here's me, you, and Joey. We're doing the river dance right there. That's great. So thank you to everyone who submitted a picture.
That's wonderful.
For next time, your assignment is make a picture of Gator if he was involved in a horrible poo accident.
I don't like that. Let's not do that. Why don't we do make him a gator if he was in the middle of like a fuck party with a bunch of beautiful women.
We're trying to keep it based in reality.
Yeah.
Hey, buddy, you should have seen me last night with the two twins that worked down at Applebee's.
All right, coming up next, we're going to talk to America's leading scholar on the subject of poo. He's the author of Poop Culture, Dave Prager, all the way from New York. We'll be here right after this word from our sponsor.
Infected. 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 Infected.
Infected.
So Sunday morning at this little diner near my house, and it was after a hard night of drinking, I'm sitting in the booth with my friend and this new girl that I just met. And I decide that I'm gonna go to the bathrooms because I got Gator's got this built up, he's got a little bit of the beer gas. So I'm on my way to the bathroom. I decided I'm gonna let a little fart out. Instead of a fart, this whole thing opens up like goddamn Poseidon, like a volcano opening up in my pants, and I just shat all over myself. This wet, hot, running kind of crap. I don't know. And I skitter crab walk to the bathroom. And there's a line, of course. Place is packed. Finally get in the bathroom. I pull my pants off. Pull my underwear off to survey the damage. It's a goddamn mess in there. It's like some kind of a Texas Chainsaw Massacre inside there. So I mop myself up with my pants because, of course, get this, the toilet paper's all gone. So I mop myself down with the boxer shorts I had, and then I gotta hide them. There's nowhere to hide them. So I see the panel ceiling up there. I stand up on the toilet. I try to open up the panel ceiling, but there's no room in there. It's like the concrete ceiling's like an inch above the panels. So I think it's a bright idea. I'm gonna flush my underwear. So I stick them in the toilet and try to flush it. Now it ain't gonna happen. That's a bad idea because that thing starts backing up, flooding up the toilet, the poo, and everything starts filling up the bathroom, running over. I'm standing up on the top of the toilet, and it starts running over the door, out the door crack, and I hear people outside start talking, and then I hear them start to scream, and I think some kids start crying. It runs all the way down, ruins everybody's Sunday dinner. About 150 people have to evacuate the restaurant. They call in the health department, shut the whole place down. I finally had to walk out there like some kind of swamp explorer with my pants rolled up around my knees and no underwear on. Everybody knew the gator had done something bad. That's my story.
And welcome back to the Infected Poo Spectacular. Has poo changed your life? More importantly, has poo changed the course of human civilization? Well, here to plumb the murky depths of that question is the author of Poop Culture and the founder of PoopReport.com. All the way from New York City, here is Dave Prager. How you doing, Dave?
Hey, guys. How you doing tonight?
Doing great. Thanks so much for being on the Sargecast.
Oh, my pleasure.
I love PoopReport.com. It is my number one source for my number two business. I didn't come up with that. That's the name of it you came up with, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So of all the stories, it's this big community of people who poo, and they submit stories to the site about some of the worst horror stories about pooping. Is there one story that sticks in your head, like when you're just going about your daily business, maybe you're at the grocery store, maybe you're preparing dinner, where it just comes into your mind like, oh my God, I can't believe that happened to that guy in his pants?
Well, the best story I can think of is the one entitled The Day I Ruined Thanksgiving. And the title is just what happened. I'll just set up the scene for you. On the ground floor in the kitchen, on the table, is the turkey, ready to be eaten. And on the second floor is a toilet that one of the guys clogged that's about to drip down on the turkey.
Oh, no.
You can't believe that something like that happened, but it did.
I call the drumstick. Wow, that's amazing.
Anymore.
That's just, I've ruined a lot of Thanksgivings, but I've never done that, Dave. I've never done that. So the new book, Poop Culture. I mean, a lot of people, they hear the name poopreport.com, they hear the name Poop Culture, they think it's just going to be this juvenile collection of shit jokes. It's not that at all. This is really a socio-historical analysis of how pooing has changed the course of human history, right?
That's absolutely right. I wanted to take a look at this absurd subject and see what there is, what thought there is, see how much I can really think about it and how much other people really thought about it, and learn exactly how it has impacted our lives. And the fact is that it has.
It has tremendously. The book is really, it's quite scholarly. Are you a professor by any chance?
I am a professor of Pooh, but there's no school that will accredit that.
But I got to imagine, just from reading the thing, I mean, you've gone through quite a few stages of academia.
Yeah, I've gone through everything from like South Park and Dumb and Dumber and Howard Stern to French philosophers and cultural critics. It's really been an amazing little book to write.
Yeah, I'll bet. So let's go back to the Victorian era, because we all know that the Victorians,
That's one of my favorites.
They're sort of ashamed about all things having to do with the body, whether it be sex, whether it be pooing. And it was the Victorians that really changed the course of our asses, as it were.
That's right. The thing was, in Victorian times, there was a very small number of rich people and a very large number of poor people. But with the Industrial Revolution and capitalism, the poor people were getting richer. And so the rich people had to figure out a way to separate themselves from the poor. And one of the ways they did that was to invent this device that made it seem like they didn't poop at all. They went into this little room, and they stayed there, and they came out, and there was nothing left, because the poo went down with the water.
Huh. So before the Victorian era, there was no such thing as a toilet. People would just shit in a bucket and then dump it out their window onto anyone who was walking by.
Well, they called those chamber pots, and the little thing you put your chamber pot in was called a closed stool, but you got the idea. Yeah, they would poop in buckets, and if they were diligent and they followed the law and the morals, they would empty the bucket in the backyard privy. But, you know, people, they're lazy. Back then, 200 years ago, people were lazy. So if there's no one around, they're just going to dump it out the window.
Absolutely.
I used what we call a FedEx box for a couple of years when I lived in my truck.
Did you send it to somebody?
No, you know, the postage had already been used on that one. I got that out of the dump, but...
Oh, I got it.
So the Victorian era, of course, was also around the same time as the Industrial Revolution, when so many people from the countryside were moving into the city, and everyone shits. It doesn't matter if you're the Queen of England or the lowliest of the low, everyone shits. That caused a huge problem in the urbanization of the major cities of the world. How did they contend with all that shit that was being produced?
Well, very badly at first, and that's why there was a lot of cholera, and this is a real issue. Cholera is basically uncontrollable diarrhea. When you get cholera, you're going to shit yourself to death.
So I have cholera right now?
Well, that's Taco Bell. It's a little bit different.
Eat you one of them good and cheese logs. That'll stop you up real quick.
The way to avoid cholera is to keep feces from contaminating water.
Uh-huh.
They figured this out in around 1850 or 1860. They said, we got to keep our poop out of our water supply. How are we going to do this? Hey, well, let's look at all these rich people with all their fancy toilets. Now everyone's going to have a toilet. And so the reason you don't have cholera today is because of the toilet.
So before all of this happened in the Victorian era, were people less ashamed of pooping?
It was a different thing. Pooping wasn't mandated to be as private. Right now, we know that if you're going to poop, you're going to go into a little room where no one can see you and hear you and smell you.
Lock the door.
Yeah, you're going to lock the door, you're going to turn on the fan, you're going to get the air freshener ready. Back then, it was a little bit different. It was discreet. There weren't people walking down the street pooping willy-nilly, but you would poop. Let's say you had a backyard privy. Let's say you lived in a tenement building, with a 4-story building. You're going to have 3 or 4 seats in the privy, and someone, you're going to be sitting there, and your neighbor is going to come down and sit next to you, and you're going to talk about Woodrow Wilson or whatever, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, and then you're going to finish up. It was a communal thing. even if you use the chamber pot in your bedroom, your family's going to be there. You're a poor tailor with a one-bedroom apartment. You got no room for a bathroom. You're going to have to poop in front of everybody.
And they're going to hear you. They're going to smell you. Everything.
It was communal. It was discreet again, but it wasn't like it is today, where it's so taboo that we would never imagine if you're in your bedroom and you got to go to the bathroom. You pull out your chamber pot and take a whiz with your wife right there. You couldn't do that. It would never happen today.
Well, I'm not married, but
I think a few people heard me today off.
I didn't see her for like a week.
I think a few people heard me today at the Stuckies off I-70. I made quite a bit. Talk about a life-changing experience.
how many? You have some amazing figures in your book. How many pounds of poo are generated in the United States every day?
Well, I figure, and I did a lot of research on this, and no scientists really know how much the average person poops per day.
I haven't pooped in about a week, so I'm not part of this, but go ahead.
Yeah, well, but you figure between the people that poop 4 times a day and the people that poop 4 times a week, there's really no accepted figure, but I figure that half pound is a good ballpark.
Half pound?
A half pound, yeah, that's what the research says. That's not that much.
Yeah, you eat a blooming onion, you're going to get about a half pound.
Yeah, come on, a half pound's a good loaf. It's nothing.
Something like that.
So you got a half pound a day times 300 million people. So 150 million pounds of poop coming through our sewers every single day. You take a little bit out because not everyone's on the sewage system. A lot of people use septic tanks and things like that. The numbers get a little fuzzy. I ended up using some EPA figures about how many people are actually on the sewage system. I ended up at 108 million pounds of poop going through the sewers every single day.
Wow! That's a lot of poo. That's not even counting what the crackheads do in the bushes outside of my house here.
No, and it's not counting all the pounds of toilet paper and the 32 billion gallons of water that we flush it with.
You bring
gallons every single day.
You bring up toilet paper, and in the book Poop Culture, you say the toilet paper is really a terrible way of cleaning the ass.
It beats cigarette cellophane.
Let me ask you a question. If you got a piece of poop on your arm, what would you do?
If I had a piece of poop on my arm, I'd rub it on a gator right about now.
You know what you do? You'd wash it off, and what you wouldn't do is take a little piece of paper and smear it, and then look at the piece of paper. Oh, there's a little bit more, and smear it again. And look at the piece of paper. Oh, a little bit more, and then smear it again. Look at the piece of paper and say, oh, it looks like it's all gone. You would wash it.
Hey, so that's what those are like when you go to the fancy hotels and the water comes up out of the toilet pot like that? It's like
That's right. And in fact, about half the world does wash their butts, and half the world in the East, in Japan, and in the Middle East, and in all over Asia, they look at us and they think, you Americans, you're disgusting. You smear your poop into your butt crack.
Yeah, but they use their hands a lot of the time to wipe their asses.
They use water when they use their hands. They clean.
They got like a long cuff on their shirt or something.
You know what, though? Okay, they may think that they're all that, everything with, using water, but they also squat. They don't actually have toilets. They have squatters. And I understand that's actually healthy. It, opens up the colon and everything like that. But come on, man, that's got to spray. I wear very expensive shoes. And that's got to go all over my Bruno Maglias.
I had a couple accidents when I lived in Japan.
When you've been squatting all your life, it's a much more natural position.
Exactly.
I was in Egypt with my wife a few years ago, and we were at a bus station in the middle of the desert in Egypt, and you can imagine how disgusting that is. I mean, a bus station in America is disgusting. But the bus station in Egypt, a squatter with shit all over the place, and oh god, it was disgusting. And I had to squat there and drop my load, and it was one of the hardest things I ever had to do for 2 reasons. One, because my legs just can't squat, and 2, most of the men over there were wearing robes, which makes it a lot easier to squat than when you're trying to keep your jeans from
I hear that.
while you're doing it.
You get them sewing machine legs and you start breaking a sweat there and you're holding on for dear life. I had that same experience when I was over in China.
The handrails were covered.
I shat all.
It was disgusting.
Well, Dave, let me ask you this. What about really old and infirm people where they don't have shitters and they're expected to squat? What do they do? Just lay down on the ground? Just let it all, come out of their ass while they're laying down? What do they do?
Martin, there's no need to get
really good question.
crude.
I imagine they just die.
Maybe you should add another chapter to your book and investigate that one.
Yeah. No, the book focuses on America because, I don't speak Japanese. I don't speak Arabic. I would love to learn more about those cultures, but language is really a barrier. So I focus on what I know. And what I know is pooping in America. The red, white, and brown.
Yeah. But, no matter where you live, it's true. Everyone poops. Pooping is the universal language in many ways. And your book...
struggle equally under the tyranny of the colon.
There you go. I got to tell you, anyone out there who wants to... It's a fascinating book. I loved it. It is a gripping read. Anyone who wants to learn more about how pooing has changed the course of human civilization, you got to buy this book. It's Poop Culture. It's by Dave Prager. It's available at Amazon.com. It is more than just bathroom reading. It is a fantastic tome. Dave, we sincerely appreciate your being on Infected.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I am truly honored.
All right, man. Keep pooping.
We salute you, buddy.
You too.
All right, everyone. When we come back, we're going to talk to entertainment reporter Johnny O'Banion. He says that he can tell just by looking at the feces of a pet what celebrity owns that pet.
Keep it fast and loose.
We'll be right back after this word from our sponsor.
Infected. Infected. Infected.
Infected.
Infected.
Infected.
I think it was around 1995. Fall, maybe. It was brisk, nice temperature out. I was driving south on the 405, heading back home to Redondo Beach. About 11 o'clock at night, had a little gas, what I thought, a little buildup, and all by myself, driving in my Acura Legend. And the pressure just kept building. It kept getting, I go, whoa, and I knew there weren't any off-ramps to where I could, like a good McDonald's nearby, I could shoot in. It was like pretty much an industrial area right around the airport there. And it was building and building. I'm like, oh my God, what's going to happen? And so I got a little, little relief with the gas, but then it just kept building. I went, oh my God. I'm going 70 miles an hour, and the thought that I'm going to shit my pants while driving on the 405 is occurring to me. And luckily, I look back, there's a beach towel in the back seat. So it's building a little more, and that's feeling better, but it's still building. And suddenly, I just grab the beach towel. I'm wearing some khakis at the time. Shove it under my ass, get it on to protect my seat in case. I don't know at this point, but at that point, I think subconsciously I knew I had the buffer zone, and just like someone was dumping cement down the back of my pants out of one of those big funnels. So I'm driving, my window's not even down. Now I'm going to vomit because the smell is so horrific. I roll the window all the way down, still going about 70, maybe 68. I got my head out the window. It's going down the back of my legs. I felt like one of the Mercury 7 astronauts who took a leak and they were going to have to abort. I couldn't believe how much shit was pouring out of my ass, caking down my legs. I was feeling better in one sense, but like almost getting bile rushes in another sense. So I finally get off the freeway. I'm now on side streets. And the smell is still, I literally have to drive with my head out the window. So now I'm worried a cop's going to pull me over. Maybe there's like 3 or 4 violations. I don't know if it's illegal to shit in your car while driving or whatever, but there's just tons of shit in my pants. I'm hoping the upholstery is not stained. Somehow I get to my apartment. My parking spot is right next to the dumpster, luckily. Get out, there's no light out there. I get out, literally kick. Just like cake off my pants. I look like an aborigine from the waist down. I take my pants, just chuck them in. The towel never got soiled. The khaki, the friggin' Gap khakis kept the barrier in place. Wrapped that around me and snuck into my apartment.
God damn, I love the open road. Out here, I move down the never-ending highway at 80 miles per hour. I'm free out here, free and clear, just gliding along on my radials. Sometimes when I'm out here skimming along that endless cracked strip of blacktop, I feel sorry for all those sorry bastards buried in windowless cubicles inside those sealed-up office buildings, wasting their lives away. You know, I worked in an office once. It was the goddamnedest thing sitting in a cube all day. What was worse was that the damn bathroom was for both men and women. Co-ed is what they called it. I call it fucked up. Gator don't do his business in mixed company. So after a day or so, I started shitting in a file drawer in my cube. I did it for a couple days, usually after my morning coffee, till this nosy bitch from accounts payable caught me in the act squatting over that drawer, quivery-legged, shitting away. And that was it for me in offices. And I don't miss them, except for the money. That was actually kind of nice. Paycheck is actually pretty helpful for a lot of things. And there were some nice girls there, and they had free Danish on Thursdays. Fuck, I'm low on oil. Where was I going anyway? I need to pull off and regroup.
And welcome back to Infected. You know, Gator, I'm getting a little uncomfortable with, this view into your soul that we get now with the Gator Cam.
Why is that? You don't like that?
Because
that's exactly what I was thinking.
I know. You
never told me how that thing works.
It's this Korean invention, this camera that records not only your image but also your thoughts.
Where'd you pick that up?
Brainstorm, remember? Christopher
I
Walken,
got it
Natalie
in
Wood.
Koreatown. Hey, Scott, you're back. Yeah. I hope Scott missed that whole interview because he was taking a dump.
Oh, it was worth
Dropping
it,
a
though.
deuce in there.
It's
Was it good?
a family of fudge eels living in there right now.
We got a lot of poo talk on this show.
We sure do.
That lady, that NASA astronaut who drove across country to kill that woman, she had that diaper on.
Yeah.
You get a lot of press on that diaper, and I feel bad about that because that was my damn invention.
Did she actually dump in the diaper? Do we know that?
I know for a fact she dumped in that diaper. Because I had a little camera in her car, too. She was a sweet, sweet piece of ass.
I don't want these cameras getting out. If anyone puts one of those cameras in my bedroom or something, I'll never work in this town again. Maybe there already is a camera.
If anybody drives cross country to kill somebody that I'm dating to wearing a diaper, I'll marry that bitch right now.
If you're going to kill somebody, you may as well shit yourself. Who cares at that point?
You got to get there if you're going to make up your mind.
It's good for the insanity plea, too.
Yeah.
You pull over there, you get in that Stuckey's, that truck stop, and you start walking around that playing with them little lighters and Eiffel Towers and stuff that sing and paperweights and stuff. You're going to change your mind. You ain't going to go through with it. You want to kill somebody, you got to put the diaper on, and you don't stop.
Are you just wearing the diaper alone? Just like no shirt, just the diaper?
Did she have pants on over the diaper?
Well, I usually just sometimes wear a Glad bag, to tell you the truth, because I can't really afford them diapers anymore, but...
No, I think you do go. You just go with diaper because you do have it does help through the insanity defense if you get caught.
You don't want to put like a nice pair of chinos on over that diaper or something like that.
Dockers, some haggard slacks.
Because I think you never know what's going. Them NASA diapers are probably high quality, but the type of thing I'm talking about is kind of a little homemade, and you get a little bit of leakage, whatever. I just wear that diaper, and you put some newspapers down on the seat, and I'm glad.
Cotton balls.
You know what I think of when I think of NASA? I think of Out of This World. And you know what I think of when I think of Out of This World?
What?
I think of Johnny O'Banion, our entertainment reporter. Here he is with his view from the canyon. This week, Johnny says that he can tell just by looking at the scat of a pet what celebrity owns that pet. So, here it is, view from the canyon, Johnny.
It's the Pooh Show.
And welcome to View from the Canyon with Johnny O'Banion.
Hello, this is Johnny O'Banion coming to you live from the tippity top of lovely Laurel Canyon, Los Angeles, California, with all the entertainment news you need to know. First off, news flash! The glitter bowl is overflowing with stat. Yes, stat feces are just plain poo. These digested wastes left behind by the pampered pets of celebrities and their handlers are universally avoided by all but the most dedicated animal lovers, vets, and scientists. But for anyone interested in finding out more about the animal world, scats can be a useful tool. They can reveal a lot about the things animals eat, where they go, even where they live. What is that brown lump sticking to the heel of your shoe? Is it the scat of a spotted-tailed quail, an Australian fur seal, a red fox, or has down-and-out B-list TV actor Jan Michael Vincent been crapping in the street again? What scat is what? Well, if you want to know all the dope about scat, then the first thing you want to do is get the Story's Basic Country Skills Guide, a practical guide to self-reliance. All the information you need to know about identifying various scats is contained right within this useful tome. For example, possums. Scat identifier, The story guide says larger possums such as breast tails and scaly tails produce generally dark cylinder-shaped scats which usually contain vegetation. I can tell you that's true because there's a lot of possum scat in the canyon. Why? Do possums just generally gravitate toward high ground here in Laurel Canyon? Do they somehow find the air relaxing? Do they like the view? I don't know, but what I do know is this. Lonnie Anderson is fucking nuts for possums. She has 14,000 possums in her basement, in her crawl space, and even in the attic of her home. 14,000 possums create a whole hell of a lot of scat. Let me tell you, it smells like ammonium, smells like nitrate. When I smell the smell of fetid, miasmic stench devils roaming around the canyon, I know that's the possums on the march. The possums that belong to Lonnie Anderson. Because does she only keep them in the home? Does she lock them away and throw away the key? Far from it. Lonnie Anderson loves possums so much that she puts little chain collars around their necks. We're talking 14,000 chain collars around 14,000 possums. And she walks them up and down the canyon, up and down the canyon. What do they do the whole time? They defecate in the street. They go all over the place. And when you're walking in the canyon after Lonnie Anderson is walking 14,000 possums, I tell you, the going gets a little slick. Yes! Bam! You fall down on your face, you put your arms down to hold you back up, and what do? You stick elbow deep in feces. Possum feces. It's crazy. But that's Lonnie Anderson for you, someone I dearly love. Although she's not perfect. But who is? Speaking of people that aren't perfect, let's talk a little bit about a certain A-list Hollywood celebrity from Australia. Now, what animals do we know that live in Australia? Well, I'm thinking of koala bears specifically, and also I'm thinking of the violent-tempered Australian actor whose name is escaping me. I'm trying to cover it, but, well, I can't. Now I know. It's Russell Crowe. Oh, I block his name out because, frankly, he fills me with terror. Russell Crowe, an intimidating man with a very, very, very large violent streak. He's not afraid of throwing a phone. He's not afraid of anything. He's Russell Crowe. He plays in a punk band. But that's not all he is. You can't put him in a box. You can't put him in a kettle. You can't put him in a basket. You can't identify him. You can't define him. He's a free agent. But when it comes to koala bears, the koala bears that Russell Crowe keeps in a cage behind his house are anything but free. He keeps them in a chain link fence enclosure, and when he takes them out for a walk, he whips them with a whip. Yes, a bullwhip. And he beats the koala bears with sticks. And he pisses on the koala bears too. I've seen it. But on the rare occasions that he does in fact let his koala bears loose to walk in the streets, does he pick up after them? No. He leaves the koala bear scat everywhere for me to find, pry apart, and examine. What do his koala bears eat? Because if you look at scat, as you can learn from the basic country skills guide, you can tell that this particular koala bear eats nothing but Captain Crunch. It's a breakfast cereal made primarily from processed corn. Is it for koala bears? No, they're supposed to eat eucalyptus. Maybe that's why this koala bear's kidneys are failing. I don't know, but I can tell you that the stench emanating from his urine is not a healthy stench for a koala bear. Where do I know that that's the case? Well, because of my research in the story Basic Country Skills Guide. Yes, if you want to learn all about scat, that's the place you're going to go. Anyway, Russell Crowe and his koala bears. Sometimes he takes a cattle prod. Bam, bam, fries the little fucker right up. Oh, it's sad, it's horrible. How do I know? Because it causes brownouts all through the canyon. Why does it cause brownouts? Isn't it a cattle prod? How can it cause a brownout? Because he's hooked it up to the grid, into his electrical panel, with his giant cord, so he can carry that cattle prod all up and down the canyon. Yeah, the koala bear's getting all electrocuted. It's crapping all over the place. I don't have to identify its scat. That's my life. Hey, let's have a martini and say forget about it. And that is The View from the Canyon with Johnny O'Banion. Thanks for listening.
Thank you, Johnny. Enlightening as always. Well, that's all the time we have for the Infected Pooh Spectacular. I'd like to thank our guest, Dave Prager.
Martin, hold up. You didn't tell a story yet.
Yeah, dude, tell it, please.
All this talk about Pooh, I got to go.
Come on. This is totally unscripted. Do it.
I'm gonna throw an M80 down your toilet unless you tell
All
that
right.
story.
I guess we have time for one short story.
I
A
need
short
my story.
about
I need
Pooh.
it.
This is the story of Bradley, the tiniest Pooh in the bowl. Once upon a time, there was the tiniest little Pooh. His name was Bradley. Bradley was deposited in a toilet bowl at the same time as several other Poohs. A huge baby arm-sized Pooh named Jeff, a well-formed, very solidly built Pooh named Greg, and an absolutely gorgeous Pooh with lots of corn bling bling in him named Tyrese.
Can you change his name to Tony?
Bradley looked on these other greater Poohs with great jealousy. Why couldn't he be gigantic like Jeff, or strong like Greg, or beautiful like Tyrese? All he was, he cried, was a tiny little weak and insignificant piece of poo. So while the other Poohs in the bowl had a great time swimming about, joking around, just enjoying life outside of the colon, Bradley was miserable. But then one day, the maker of all those Poohs flushed the toilet, and every Pooh, no matter how big, strong, or beautiful, was sucked into the sewer system, never to be seen again. So remember, no matter what struggles you have in life, and no matter how good the lives of other people look, one day, no matter who you are, you're going to get flushed, just like everyone else. So make the best of it while you're still around. The end.
Did Bradley get?
You know, that had so much.
Did Bradley get flushed too?
Sneaky depth.
They all did, yeah. That's the thing.
Why couldn't you change his name to Tony? I would like that story better if it was Tony.
Are you like?
I'd prefer if you didn't interrupt me when I'm trying to tell the final story. You beg me for a story, and then you got to pull that bullshit trying to interrupt my flow.
It was a deep
You
story.
hate Italians, don't you?
There's a lot to talk. There's a lot to think about.
Well, that really is all the time we have for the Infected Pooh Spectacular. I'd like to thank my friend Dave Prager. Make sure you buy his book, Poop Culture. You can get it right now at Amazon.com. Scott Herriot, you're going to be here again next week?
I promise.
When you're supposed to be here?
I will.
Scott Herriot will be here next week. He's
We're
going to talk about his hunt for Bigfoot, Sasquatch, Yeti.
That's going to be hot.
It's all bullshit. Doesn't matter what you call
Fuck you. It's real.
It's not real. But
Come
Scott
on.
says he's got evidence. He's going to show it to us next week.
Joey.
For the Gator and Scott Herriot, this is Martin Sargent reminding you, don't get ripped by the Riptide. We'll see you at the bar.
You've been watching and listening to Infected. And if you've been sitting here during the Pooh Show holding it in, now's the time to just lay back, close your eyes, take a deep breath, relax, and let everything go loose. Just let everything go slack. Just let it all open up. And then close your eyes in that puddle of warm and about happy thoughts. Think about maybe goats, geraniums, tall trees swaying in the breeze, and think about the pulsing of the sea and the opening burst of the bivalve mollusks deep within. You're infected, infected, infected.
Well, you know, none of this was planned. We were just talking about shit stories, and you know, everyone was telling a shit story. So, you know, I guess I got to do mine too. And you know, their stories were funny. I don't think this is really all that funny, but it's the true fucking story. So, me and my ex-girlfriend, we were out mattress shopping, and we go to one of those big mattress superstores, and you hear about people shitting the bed and everything. Well, you know, I don't know what was wrong. I took some laxatives the night before. Never taken them before in my life. And, you know, we're trying out mattresses and everything like that. And I get up on this mattress, and it was real my bowels just uncoiled. And I shat the bed right there in the goddamn mattress superstore, man. And I got off that thing, and I swear to Christ, there was fucking shit running out of my pant legs. And I said, baby, something terrible has happened. What, you didn't like the mattress? I said, no, we just got to go. And I know I left a trail of something in that mattress superstore. I know I left a trail of slime walking out of that place. And there was so much shit coming out of my ass. I mean, it was unfucking believable how much shit. And we got in my Cadillac car, and I started driving home, and I just, you know, this shit is still coming out of my asshole. And this girl, I just said, girl, you know, I've shat myself in the mattress store. I'm sorry. And she says, I love you. It doesn't matter that you shat yourself in the mattress store. And I should have asked that girl to marry me right then and there. And I regret that more than anything in my life.
Infected is written by Martin Sargent, Jay Speiden, and Stewart Engesser. Camera and audio by Dave Chung and Han Choi. Edited by Glenn Mekalos. Music composed by Kevin MacLeod. For more, go to SargeWorld.com and join us on MySpace at myspace.com/infected by Martin Sargent.
Act like Jim Bishop! Take over! Don't take